Good morning, retro loving friends. This is Meg at Chasing Retro, and I am working on tags and journaling cards for the 80s journals. I thought I was done making ephemera for them, but when I put them all into stacks last night in front of each journal that they'll go into, I am suspicious that I don't quite have enough yet to fill every pocket. So I am back to the drawing board today and pulling out some more ideas that I have on the back burner in hopes of being able to make these completely full, jam-packed to the brim with so much 80s amazingness. So before I turn the camera on, I'm not going to continue this now because it will be mainly me at the sewing machine, and who wants to listen to that with just a blank screen in front of you? I tried my Teflon sewing foot for the first time. Whoever recommended that, I think 2 of you did. Thank you for that tip. Turns out it was a lot cheaper than I had first thought. I went on Amazon and they had a 2-pack with a Teflon and a roller foot together for less than $7. So if you are on the fence about getting one of these, do it. I know that it may not fit every machine, but I have what's called a snap-in sewing foot mechanism. I think a lot of the newer machines, regardless of the brands, have that. So just make sure that it fits the make and model of your machine, but literally just push the lever, snap it in, and you're ready to go. Not any trouble at all. So I have punched with this little punch right here. I think I got this at Michael's. I punched these little unicorns and I sewed them down to, this is a PVC, I guess, portfolio folder that I found at the Dollar Tree. And they had several colors. This is when the back to school stuff started coming out, and I went there about a week ago and it was already greatly diminished. So they may already be sold out of these, but check your store. They have several colors, and it's hard to tell on the camera, but there is a glitter embedded in the plastic. So this is the hot pink, and they had lime green and purple, I believe. These tags obviously are not very functional. You can't really write on them unless you glue paper to the back or write on it with a permanent marker, which someone may completely want to do, or a paint pen. That actually might look really cool, a silver paint pen. They're very hard to punch through, so that took a little bit of arm strength to use my hole punch to punch that through. I guess I could use my crocodile, that would be easier. But I just sewed some little unicorn punches down the side, and I might do the same with some hearts. And this is some holographic paper that I had found at my craft reuse store. It was actually printer paper, and I think it was a pack of 5 sheets, which is not much unless you buy it like from a secondhand store like that and think it's worth the price of that. But you could also use just glitter cardstock or even iridescent vinyl or something to punch it out. So I've got these other tags ready to go. I'm not really sure what I'm going to put in the hole yet, but something fun and colorful. Today I thought I would work on some sewing pattern model ephemera pieces. I have a little bit of sewing ephemera in these journals, but not a lot. I think I put 1 or 2 cards per journaling cards, and the cards were made out of either the cover of a pattern or the first page of the instructions that show the little, all the dresses or whatever that are in that pattern with the pieces of the pattern, how to lay them out. So I have Tamara at Tattered Tammy sent me some 1978 and 79 pattern books, pattern counter catalogs, I should say. And I thought about just flipping through those and finding some to cut out. I haven't cut a lot out of them because it's hard to choose between the images on the back and front, because a lot of times the illustrations are on top of each other, and so you have to choose one and lose the other. You know how that is. But I thought we would look through it together. If I'm not going to use those pattern books for these journals, what am I even holding on to them for, you know? I need to do it. So I have just a few bases here. These are undecorated cards and tags that I had pulled or made and hadn't embellished yet. And this is a page from the Babysitters Club book series. And so I glued that onto cardstock. So let me go ahead and make a few more bases because I have all this leftover cardstock from making pages and other pockets and things, and I need to go ahead and get it made into other things because I have more room to spare. And if I have overestimated how much ephemera I'm going to need, no big deal. I can just include a little ephemera goodie bag. If it won't fit in the journal, I will send you guys, whoever has reserved one, I'll send you the leftovers. And you can go happily on your way and switch out things in the journal that you don't really love, or just keep adding so that it will no longer close. That is your decision. I love journals that won't close. That's just me. I think they're fun to display when they're just gaping open, you know? Okay, so that's how I make tags, unless I use a template. If I don't use a template, I just cut them into rectangles, and then I cut one corner, I reverse it, or what would you call that in geometry? Translate, where you flip it over the y-axis. Am I bringing back bad memories for y'all? And I completely could have gotten that wrong. It's been a long time since my kids did geometry, and a much longer time since I did it. So if you hear sewing machine noises in the background, it's because I spilled chocolate ice cream on one of my favorite white shirts last night, and I'm doing a long load with hot water and OxyClean after stain treating it, you know, with a toothbrush, scrubbing and all that. And I'm hoping and praying that it comes out. I don't know why I eat ice cream with favorite shirts on. I am notorious for spilling things on myself, but I did. I'm going to make this one a little bit taller because I know a lot of these sewing pattern models are bigger. And I want to make sure I have some tags that are big enough to encompass something that I choose. And you also might hear the trash trucks because today's trash pickup day in our neighborhood. I am very, 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 very excited that we live in a neighborhood that trash pickup is included in our town taxes. Where we used to live was more rural, and we had to pay for a trash service or take it ourselves. And we didn't really have a car or a truck. We only had a car and a Jeep, so we had to strap trash cans on the back of the Jeep on a trailer. It was just a mess. So I'm very, very excited about the fact that we have it's not free. We very much pay for it in our taxes, but it's not another bill we have to pay. That's a separate check to write and to think about every month. This one might be a little too small. Let's see here. I have a lot of fun patterns. I bought a paper pack from Target, actually. Actually, my daughter picked it up for me because I was not with her. And she knew that I wanted it and bought it, and I paid her back. Target had a Crayola branded cardstock pack. And it was like pastel, geometric pastels, and they were so 80s. And I was like, oh my goodness, if you're ever in Target, because she goes there more than I do, please pick up a pack, I'll pay you back. And she did. And so that's what this one is from, and that's what this one is from. And it was only like $5.50, I think, for the pack of 50 pages. It's not cardstock weight that you would get at Michael's, but a little bit more like you would find at Hobby Lobby that's in the 50 sheet wrapped packs. I think that cardstock is a little thinner than what you would get in a paper pad. So don't expect it to be super, super high quality, thick cardstock, but you know what? For $5.50 for 50 sheets, I thought that was, I say 50 sheets. It might have been 25. But I could not find it anywhere else. Walmart didn't carry it. I couldn't even find it on Amazon, so I knew Target was going to be where I had to go to find it. And I didn't know Crayola made cardstock. They make other colorways as well, but my store only had that one. Let me know in the comments if you guys have seen or bought the Crayola cardstock. This one may not work for what I'm going to do, but I have other things that I can decorate these with, and I just think they're too cute not to use. You may be wondering, hey Meg, what is that print that you have there? It looks very 80s. It does. This is tissue paper that I found at the Dollar Tree, probably back, it was when Easter stuff was coming out, so it was not Eastery, but I've had it in my stash for a while. And they came out with these new, I guess it was like a duo pack of tissue paper, gift wrap tissue, and they had a solid color and a pattern, and lots of cute patterns, but this is the one I chose. They had some that look like toile and some that look like you know, botanicals and stuff, but when I saw this rainbow and it was pastel, like Care Bears colors, I was like, yes, need this for the 80s journals. This is a printable digital paper, I should say. So, and there's really only one way I can orient this if I want the hearts right side up. So we'll turn it this way and make 4. I don't know that I want all these to be tags. I want some of them to be cards. Just because if you have a lot of tags, you end up with a lot of tassel, you know, strings, and that can get a little much a little fast in a journal. So also, you're limited. You can't really do tags in a side pocket because it hits the... So sometimes I like to do cards. Some of these I'm just going to not decide until I put something on it. Do I want this to be a tag or a card? So I'll go ahead and cut them into rectangles. That's cute, but something is like maybe somebody stuck something on it and then pulled it off. I've had that in my stash for a while, and it just keeps following me from project to project. Look at this cute digital, y'all. So cute. Gingham is my favorite. I guess this is more buffalo check, but see, little ready-made cards ready for embellishing, adding fun things to. This would make a great side pocket or corner pocket, but I don't want to do that. So let's make a little tiny tag with this one. And all the, oops, my thing fell. All these little pieces I put them to the right side of me. I should have a dish there. And when I make clusters, I just grab from that pile of little cast-offs. Bigger scraps go in the basket, little scraps just go in a pile next to me. Not the greatest idea, but you know what? It's what I have going on right now. When you're in the middle of a project, you don't really have time to clean and reorganize. You just keep going and tell yourself, at the end of this, I'm going to clean and it's going to look great again. All right. This is really cute. I love this multicolored stripe. So I can get 3 tags out of that. And that just reminds me of little shirts that little girls wore in the 80s. You know, the little smocking or the halter tops. My mom made a lot of my clothes, and she loved making things out of seersucker for me. So whenever I see seersucker hearts or stripes at my reuse store, I get it. I grab it because it just has nostalgic feelings for me. So if you didn't see the short that I uploaded yesterday, I had all of the ephemera that I have gathered for these laid out on my dining room table. we did not eat there last night. We actually had just had sandwiches last night because one of my kids was staying at school to eat. And so I didn't have to move it. But before I went to bed, I was like, you know what? I don't want to leave it like this. So I ended up putting it into piles according to what it was, counting to see if I had enough to stretch across all the journals. If I didn't, I would substitute or swap out, you know. And some journals will hold more because they have an extra signature. So the math required makes my head hurt sometimes. But I was able to get everything into a pile in front of each journal and condense what you saw on that short to about 1/3 of that square footage. And I felt like I could go to bed and rest peacefully last night because I had done that. Then I woke up this morning and panicked and said, I don't think I have enough ephemera. So thus, which is why I decided to make more tags today. All right. I would love to just tell y'all everything that's going in these journals, but you know what? I said I wasn't going to do this, but it ended up this way. Just like the Sesame Street journals, y'all, I have so many little surprises up my sleeve for these. I don't want to give anything away. Like, I'll show a little bit, but there are some things that I'm like, I really want to wait for the flip through for this. So sorry, y'all. I have a hard time keeping surprises, so this is not easy for me as well. I really, 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 like, I'm one of those people that buy a present for someone and I want to go ahead and tell them what it is, you know, because I'm just so excited for them to get it because it's perfect for them that I just want to go ahead and tell them, but it's really hard for me to wait till Christmas or birthday or whatever. So this is not easy for me to hold this inside until the reveal. And so many of you have been so generous sending me things. And I'm not just talking about recently. I'm talking about like over the past 3 years maybe. I think some of you started sending me stuff when I first mentioned that I was going to make some more 80s journals. And I have had a folder that has just grown and grown and grown. And whenever somebody sent me something, I'd toss it in. I'm sorry my coffee cup is kind of yucky. This is like the 3rd refill, and every time I refill it, because I have so much cream, I use so much cream, when I microwave it to heat it back up, the cream sort of like adheres to the side, and it looks like I'm drinking out of a dirty cup, but I'm not. I like really dark coffee, but a whole lot of cream. No sugar. See, this is, you can kind of hear how thick this cardstock is. It's pseudo cardstock. I'm going to make this one a tag and the tall one a journaling card. These colors are just so fun. I have one of my windows open today because when we woke up this morning, it was 67 degrees and we were all excited about it. My cats are all crowded around that one open window. This one is really sweet. It's sort of like I got it at Michael's in a paper pad, and it's the thick, good quality stuff. However, I want to make sure I have the right thing to go on this before I cut this up, because I can also use this in other journals as well. So I'm going to hold that. I'm trying to use the paper that I specifically intend for these 80s journals. So if I can reuse other ones in other projects, I will. This is really fun. It's tiny pink hearts on purple. Kind of makes your eyes hurt a little bit. I've had this punch since I started junk journaling, and it is still going strong. All right, so how much do we have now? Let's do a little bit more. This one's fun. This is another one of those Crayola ones. I'm gonna give an unpopular opinion for a minute. I really don't care for chevron. I like it for 70s things, you know, because in the 70s it was like on walls and stuff. Like, you know, y'all know the carpeted wall designs that you would sometimes see in like atriums and stuff. I love that look, but in general, when chevron came back out and like it was all over the ladies department, I avoided it. I just don't know why. I don't like it. I don't know why. No offense to Charlie Brown and his shirt. He was the original chevron holder, wasn't he? Now, another thing I need to try to do is incorporate some of my beautiful ribbon and these 80s sparkly ribbons that I have sort of amassed and gathered around me. This one, and then this one is from Dollar Tree. Things like this. I need to try to use those on these, if not coming out of the top, but just, you know, sew a little bit on the side. Because there's just too much texture not to use. Oh, also, I need to try to use, like, my paper flowers and stuff. Let's round these corners. This is a beautiful piece of coral, white core cardstock from Hobby Lobby. I also need to emboss some stuff, so I'm kind of looking through my stash, trying to figure out which papers would be good for embossing. I have a couple of new embossing folders that will work great. I can use my new Big Shot that someone gifted me for embossing, because I'll do this for embossing. It has a bigger plate, and I can use bigger folders than I could with my Texture Boutique, so I'm very excited about that. I'm going to emboss this lavender. So very, very excited to try my new Big Shot and some of these bigger embossing folders that I found at my craft reuse store. Let me see. Don't really want to emboss red. Don't know why. Just don't feel it today. I don't know, guys. I don't think embossing glitter would work. You'll have to let me know if I'm like completely wrong about that and it's the best thing ever, but in my estimation, it won't be that great. And I don't want to do anything to hurt my machine either. This would be great embossed. So 5, I need 4 more. I don't want to hurt my machine, put something through it that it doesn't like. Oh, I need to show y'all what I've done. So one of the things that I think slows me down dramatically is when I get something new, I want it to stay new as long as possible. And part of that includes just don't open it and don't use it for an indeterminate amount of time. Well, I don't want to do that. That's not being a good steward of what you're given to, especially if it's a gift. So my husband made me open he made me open it the day I received it. So thank you for that, hubby. And then he said, okay, you need to use this a lot because it's here and you've always wanted one and you finally have one, so use it. So I said, okay, but I don't want to because it will ruin the little plates. You know, the clear plates, the cutting plates, I guess they're called. So I started, without his knowledge, I started going down this rabbit hole, whichever one is correct, of figuring out, is there a way that I can preserve the cutting plates? Is there something I can put in the layers to keep my cutting plates newer, longer? Lo and behold, I found 2 YouTube videos where ladies had done this. One lady had bought a disposable cutting board from Dollar Tree, and the other lady had bought one of those small healing cutting mats from Dollar Tree. Well, my Dollar Tree doesn't have those anymore. I remember seeing them, but I didn't buy one. It would have been the perfect size, honestly, for that. But I did have some disposable cutting boards that I had bought at IKEA that we literally the day before had put in my car because we have decided to switch from plastic cutting boards to wood. And so we bought some new bamboo cutting boards at IKEA, and I put the plastic ones in my car. Well, I ran back outside to my car, grabbed them, cut them down, and though I can't use both, I can't use 2 layers of them. One layer works fine if you roll it through twice. 2 layers wouldn't go through at all. 1 layer worked fine. So I put it on the part that the blade or the die would cut. And when I finished, I flipped the cutting board open and you can see like the cloud shape of what I had cut out, and it had embossed into the plastic. But my cutting plate was pristine, and I'm going to see how long I can do this and keep those looking nice. I told my hubby about it when he got home, and he thought that was funny. I need 1 more. I am making 9 journals. I'm selling 8, but I'm making 1 for myself. So I know me. If I don't go ahead and make something for my personal journal when I'm making everybody else's, it will never get done. Like, I still have, this is really bad. I have a little women journal in a box, unassembled, that when I made the little women journals, that was probably 2 falls ago. I said, I'll go back and do this later. I did not finish mine. At this point, I'm like, I should finish it and sell it because I don't really know that I want the little women journal anymore. I also have, I finished my space one, but it was like a year after the rest of the space ones. I still have a rainy day journal, unassembled. All the pieces are stuffed in the journal, but nothing is attached. No pockets are glued in. None of the ephemera is in. It's just stuffed in there and put on a shelf. So that's really sad, y'all. And I can't write in the journals if they're like that. So those are unused journals sitting on my shelf. So again, talking about stewardship, I just need to take a weekend and finish the journals that I have still hanging out there that are not done, and either use them or sell them or give them away or something. That should be one of my goals for this fall. So now I have some embossing cardstock. I'll put this here because my embosser is directly across from me and I can grab it. And I have some bases for cards and tags. Let me go get my sewing counter catalogs. That's a really hard thing to say. And I will be right back. They're right behind me, but it'll take me a minute to grab it. Okay, she gave me 2. One is Butterick and one is Vogue. And I feel like Butterick would be a little more accessible fashion. I remember my mom when we were at Peace Good Shop, which is a fabric store chain. We also went to other ones too, but that's the main one that we liked. She would always tell my sister and I, you can pick a pattern of anything you like for your whatever, Easter dress for your school dance, whatever. But I would prefer you get McCall's or Butterick. But if you must, you can also, if there's nothing you like in McCall's or Butterick, which were probably easier to sew with and obviously cheaper, we can look at Vogue and Berta, which I think is a German brand. And almost every time what I found was in Vogue. And my mom would be like, but I do love Butterick. I think this is now that I'm an adult, I think this is my favorite pattern brand. I like the way the patterns look. I like the way they look when they're made into journals. And I just like the clothes. Oh, it's not going to clear the camera. Let me move it back. There we go. This Butterick featured Marie Osmond. How cool is that? So though this is 1978, I don't know if you guys noticed, if you look through a lot of patterns, you'll notice that a lot of the patterns that were sold in the early 80s were printed in the late 70s, because obviously they probably didn't have the staff to come out with all new fashions every single year. There were new patterns, of course, but a lot of them stayed on the shelves for, a few years after. And I'm not even going to get into the whole thing about McCall's and all of that being sold. It makes me so sad and sick to my stomach, so I'm not going to even bring that up. We're going to keep today happy, and we're going to enjoy these little pieces of history that I am so blessed to have thanks to Tammy, and all the other patterns that I have found over the years secondhand. I'm so thankful. And I'm going to try not to let what is happening in the pattern industry, keep me from using what I do have. Okay, so I think I want to mainly focus on children's models because these are 80s childhood journals. Now, two of the people who have reserved one they wanted theirs to be a little more teenagery versus children because they were teenagers in the 80s. So I will also look at more of the junior looking, they didn't call it juniors back then, I don't think, the ladies sizes. I think they were called Young Miss or something back then. But I'm going to mainly look at children right now, and then we'll go back and look at the others. See what I'm talking about? I wish they had flip-flop the real picture with the illustration, because I have to pick between that and that. Now, you're a pattern nerd if you have your favorite illustrators that you kind of gravitate toward and you can recognize their style. There are some illustrators who draw faces and I don't like the way they look. They're just a little bit caricature looking, and I'm not a huge fan of caricature art. Like this. These aren't my favorite. I don't know who draws these. I don't know. I don't like the way the eyes look. The mouths are too small. They just don't look real. I'm not saying these look like real people. They don't. But it's a little more stylized. And normally I would go for stylized. I love stylized art, especially in children's books. But for some reason, with sewing pattern models, I want them to look like this. Go figure. I don't know. Okay, so they're so cute. And they're so cute. Goodness, this is not going to be easy. Let's go through first and see. Okay, I can definitely cut out what's on the back of this because I really don't want to keep these. Also, what's going on with his... Why does he have a string or a rope going through his pants like that? That's really odd. Okay, so we can cut these out. Of course, these are all stuck together. We'll have to use them as one unit, and I don't know that I cut anything that big out, did I? See, they won't even fit on here. I'll just have to cut a bigger tag. But yeah, let's do that. Okay. I'll just set this aside. And on the other side, I could probably keep him or her and make a tag out of that. I don't really love using photos, but I will. Just because I don't want to waste any part of these beautiful catalogs. I am pretty sure my friend Meredith had a dress like that. I like her hair. Okay, I like these girls better than these girls. Not that there's anything wrong with them. They're just, it's harder to see their faces. These are a little more, I don't know though, these look more 80s and these look more 70s. I don't know though, the pockets date these and the bell bottoms, but these, I mean, I remember my friends wearing dresses like this in the 80s. Look at that rickrack. We're gonna leave that one for now and come back. These are cute. These are also cute. Oh goodness. I'm just gonna have to make decisions, y'all. Now, if I use the entire page, you know, no, you know what? I think this is my friend Meredith's dress. How does this differ from the other one? It looks like the same one, but they're one number apart. But that actually looks a lot like my friend Meredith. And she had ribbons and like pastel rainbow colors sewn on in a row. And I was so jealous of that dress. I loved it. Okay, so I'll choose one of these. Don't know which one. This one also looks very 80s to me. And look at the mom-daughter. You used to see moms and daughters dressing alike all the time. My daughter and I did too, a little bit. They came out with some like knitwear companies in the early 2000s, mid 2000s that, I don't like these guys. So I'll cut. Oh, you know what? They're the same on that side. I don't like this illustrator. What is wrong with me? But I could cut her out and use her whole self, and then I could truncate these right here. I don't know. I wish I liked that illustrator. It would make things so much easier. See, like this right here would be perfect, but there's nothing on the back. But I just don't love the images, and it's big too. It's a very big. These are adorable. Yeah, I think I would choose those. Those little jumpsuits with the belt and the puppy. Oh, look, I have some fabric almost just like this. See what I'm talking about? Those rainbow stripes. It is just so 80s to me. That looks very 70s to me. This, I can break these apart, so I will be using this one. And she's cute too, so I can keep her. It'll just be a very large card. Peasant shirt. My daughter is actually looking for one of those right now because she's going to some sort of an event where she has to dress like a, you know, medieval character. These are cute, the little knit tops. Isn't this funny? She looks a lot like that. Like the fabric even almost matches. It's almost like the artist had this to go by when they drew that. This is cute too, and they're cut apart. You can cut them apart. Let's do this one. My mom used to make these for me and my sister both. The little bubbles that crossed in the back. These little outfits are just so cute. And you know they were comfortable on hot days. I don't know. definitely like these more than the other side, so I'll save them. And these little guys. I worked at a children's shop in college, and these little jumpsuits with the applique, there was a company called Bailey Boys. Have y'all heard of the Bailey Boys? I think they were based on St. Simon's Island, Georgia, which is near us, but maybe they were nationwide. I don't know, but we sold so many Bailey Boys overalls and little short dresses. This is cute. It's like a handkerchief dress or handkerchief shirt. Love that, but it's very 70s, so I will not use that one. Now we're getting into the 80s jogging shorts and the tube socks. I had some red and white shorts like that. Definitely cute, but I don't know. I think we're getting into the older children now. She looks kind of like the girl that played Annie's friend in the movie Annie, the old movie Annie. These are cute. Oh, I don't know. I'll use one of those sides. All right, I may have enough children images. Let's see. Let's just pick one more. Okay, I don't like these, so we'll tear these out. All right, now let's go back to the, well, first let's look at See and Sew. Do y'all remember See and Sew, the little 99-cent patterns? These may be all pictures. I think they are. They look like sisters. Yeah, I think these are all, there's no illustrations. So let's go back this way. There's some choir robes if you need some. Let's find some that look like juniors. Oh, it is. Junior, petite, junior, young junior. That's probably like preteen. We wear skirts like that now, the triple layer skirts. I love them. If I find one, like at the thrift store or consignment store, I get it. I love layered skirts. Those are cute, but a little sporty. I want to find something a little more, for lack of a better term, punky. I don't want it to be punky, but I don't want it to be like homespun looking either. Those are cute. The Western look was in. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything in here. Those are very 70s, honestly. Let's see. Let's look at the some of these models look like the 1930s. Their hair and the long flowy dresses. And some of these colors are just kind of fall, and I don't want anything to look fall in these. These are supposed to be bright colored journals. So I'm looking for something that's eye-popping. That's kind of cool, but would someone wear this in high school in the 80s? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It still looks kind of matronly. Let's keep going. They look very 80s and honestly very young. So, what's on the back? Ooh, tough one. Where does she stop? I wonder if I could save her. No, she steps out in front of her. Boo! But seriously, loving this. I would totally wear this. I bet y'all didn't think that we would be looking through fashions today, and I'm not really making ephemera. I'm just commenting on the clothing. But it's fun. I've always loved, I don't want to do bathing suits. I've always loved fabric, and I've always loved fashion. And with sewing, you could have accessible fashion. Like, you could find stuff that looked designer, but you made it yourself. You could pick your own fabric. Who is John Kloss? I keep seeing that name. Okay, we don't need at home, like evening and at home dresses. Let's see. This is Dress Boutique. No. Catherine Ross. Suits, nope. Probably won't use that. Jumpers, no. Sportswear. This might be promising. Let's look. Caftans. What? I'm not supposed to have swimwear. It said sportswear. These guys, man. Living it up wherever they are. Okay. Why is she all by herself? I guess only one pattern, one style comes in that pattern. Culottes. They call them Bermuda shorts. No, this is Bermuda shorts. They call these culottes. That's right. Culottes were in style for a long time. And then they came back around 2010, and everybody said, they're back, but they're not culottes. They're palazzo. And it just made it sound cooler, but they were still culottes. So they didn't last very long. I had one pair. I just love these layered skirts, but I'm just not seeing what I want for these. Those are kind of cute though. Yeah, and I don't like these ladies. Let's pull these out. They look youthful. They look high school-esque. Okay. They look a little older. She looks very high school. Look at that. She's very 80s. Got that sad ponytail. My hair hurts just looking at that. I thought everybody's hair hurt when they pulled their hair in an opposite direction from the way it likes to go. But evidently it's not an everybody thing. It's only a some people thing. It's extreme for me. Like, if I put my hair in a top knot, when I take it down that night, I'm in excruciating pain for about 30 minutes. Y'all have to let me know if y'all experience that too. It's very annoying because I really like wearing my hair and changing my part and all that, but it hurts, so I don't. But evidently it's some form of allodynia, which is like a overfiring of the nerves that sense pain. I like this. This is very 80s. This might be it. Oh yeah, this is a good one. I think we have what we need, guys. We didn't even have to open the Vogue. Okay. Thanks to Tammy, we have some awesome, authentic 80s fashion ephemera to work with. I think I'm going to stop the camera while I cut this out because y'all don't want to see me cut all these things out. And I'll come back when I'm ready to put them on the tag. All right, I'm back. I checked on my shirt. It needed another type of soak, so I started that, and it seems to be working. Yay! And I also ate lunch, and now I'm back, and I have fussy cut all of the little sewing pattern models and grabbed a few, or printed rather, a few more sheets for, I just noticed this one has lines in it. I am having consistent problems with my printer printing lines, horizontal lines on my prints. I don't know why. If I do quality print, it doesn't do it. So it's just quality print. So I'll reprint that one and with a quality setting. These look okay. Because I had some sewing pattern models that were bigger than what I had previously cut, I decided to print a few more. They all look great, except for that one blue one. All right, so I think I'm gonna need to do some jumbo cards for a couple of them. Where's the one that had the 4 kids? Here it is. See, this is gonna take a lot of real estate, so wondering if this would look better with the hearts. No, I like this. All right, so let's cut this in half. We may not need the entire height of it. I also need to be aware of the height of my journals. Most of them are only about 8.5 inches. No, sorry, 10.5 inches tall. So I don't want to make it so tall that it can't, you know, go into a pocket easily. So let me trim a little bit off of this one. That looks good. I'm going to take a little bit off the edge too. Okay. We'll make this a journaling card instead of a tag. Kind of like these little girls on there. We'll cut this edge off as well. There we go. And I think I'm going to round the corners. I have white thread in my machine right now, so any sewing I do today will be white, which should be okay for everything I have selected here. I used a lot of different colors threads in these journals, including some fluorescent hot pink thread, but I'm all out of that now. And I haven't seen any at my craft reuse store in a while, the fluorescent colors anyway. So I have just been using white and, you know, pastels, which I always have. Okay, there's 2. Let's put those there. Now, I got this pretty piece. Thought maybe they could go here because they have little, she's got a spade and she's got a potted plant, so they're probably outside in the garden, so I thought the flowers would go well with them. Oops. Okay, there's that. Let's pick something for this tag. They're gonna be, yeah, a little bit too big. That's kind of cute. I like that, and it brings in the blue of her dress. We'll do that. Do I have anything that would go with this one? weren't for that red. I just don't think that looks good with the pastel colors. Let's find something brighter for them. I could put them on this flip out tag here. Let's do that. This is a tag that flips up for journaling. You know what? I'm not going to have to trim her hat. I just didn't line up her shirt right. So that fits good. All right, we have these two ladies, and so we needed something kind of wide. I don't think I have anything pre-cut for this one unless I do this, but they're a little bit old for the Babysitters Club, so let's see. I could do the hearts for them. Oh no, you know what? I'm gonna do this grid. I think I can get 2 and then 1 tall one with this, so let's do that. I'm a little bit off camera with my cutter, but this is what I can do with the space I have. My desk is just so big, there's no way I could get the camera on every part of it. I did not cut out between her feet here. I just noticed that. I did use the X-Acto knife to go and cut out the, you know, where they were bending their arm and stuff. I just think that looks better, if you put, especially if you put it on a patterned paper. But I forgot that little part. All right, now let's round the corner. I really like rounded corners. They're easier to get in and out of pockets, and I just like the way they look. My cutter blade is getting a little dull. You can tell because it leaves a little bit of shaggy edge on the cut. It kind of goes with the grid on her shirt. All right. We have this lady by herself. This might be cool if she fits. She does. I like that. Let's do that. Is that all the teenagers we have? I think so. Let's see here. This is cute. She needs something tall. She's a little too primary for that. She might look cute on the hearts. Yeah, let's do that. Go back and trim. This is what takes time and wastes time, honestly. When this happens, I should just change the blade. I do have one of those blade cutters, the guillotine that brings down, but it is a hefty little thing, and I have to really make room for it when I pull that out. So, and that will not be camera friendly for sure. It's very loud. I kind of want to do these little girls. Well, let's see. Let's try this first. I don't think this is, nope, not tall enough. I kind of want to do them on, okay, something weird happened with my printer right here. Weird. I've never seen it do that before. I really hope my printer is going to be okay. I've had it for 4 years, and it's doing weird things lately. Really hope it's not ailing. Oh, look at that. I trimmed off so much that I don't have enough room for this now. Well, barely. We'll just have to make the stripes go. Latitude instead of longitude. If this doesn't look 80s, I don't know what does. Okay. He is adorable. He might go well on this. Yep, that's cute. We'll put him on the edge. Let's see. This little girl with the eyelet dress needs something a little darker, I think. What about gingham for her? Okay. She's adorable. That just doesn't match that though. I am insistent on finding a girl to go on this card, but none of the colors I have. No. Yeah, a lot of primary colors, honestly. So some of these other ones I have out may not work either. This is good for him. It's a little too modern for her. What about this? Too tall. This? Too tall. Okay, we'll put you aside and work on somebody else. What about this guy? I really don't want to put pink with him. This might be cute. Nah, still kind of girly. This is coral. Nope. Ooh. That's it. That's for him. And that's not really cardstock, that's paper, but that's okay. Oh, I also have this one. Too tall. I'm gonna have to find something else for this. Yeah, I have this beautiful thing too. But why is it folded weird? I must have squished it somehow. I don't think she's gonna fit either. She is not. No. All right, let's cut this one because I really want to use these clouds. I think these girls would be adorable with the clouds. Oh, I need to go this way. Hello, Meg. Wake up. Okay, that's cute. I got this guy. That's cute, but you know what? This is really cute too. I kind of like her with it. I do not know why this printer is doing this. This is worrying me. Unless she'd look better on here. No, a little too washed out. Yeah, I'm not sure. If you guys have any tips about Epson EcoTank that despite, what am I doing? Despite being cleaned, I need to trim it this way too. Cleaned and deep cleaned, or whatever it's called, where you do like the 15-minute clean, it's still leaving lines. And I've run the, I just hope I'm not dealing with the damaged print head, because I have run the alignment tool so many different times, so many different ways, and still coming out with lines. Now, like I said, if I do the quality print, the lines go away, but that takes like 3 times to print, so. But it may be what I have to do. Maybe that's what you have to do as your printer ages. I don't know. Love that. Okay. That's cute on the blue clouds. I'm pretty much doing all journaling cards except one. I see one tag up there, which is good because they're a little more versatile for putting in things. You can also clip them to a page, whereas a tag's kind of awkward if you want to clip it onto a page. I might put this on the grid. Sound like I'm talking about Tron. Putting her on the grid. Okay. That was sort of an obscure 80s reference. Raise your hand if you like the movie Tron, the old one or the new one, or both. It gives me all kinds of 80s feels. I think I've got a little bit too much. You know what though? I'm gonna leave it like this because this is good journaling space. I'll decorate it a little bit, but I really want to leave it. And I'm going to leave that one not curved. Okay, one more. This little girl. And she's small, so certainly she will fit on one of these. That's okay. Wonder if she would go on the Babysitter's Club one. You know what? Let's do it. Okay. She might be one of the little kids that the Babysitter's Club babysits. Put this away so I won't hurt myself. All right, so I'm gonna pause it while I glue all these down, and then we'll decorate. All right, all of them are glued down. And now I'm gonna add some embellishments before I sew around the edges if I choose to do that. I've got this little half piece of seam binding here that I thought matched her shirt really well. So I'll put that down first. I've got just a random assortment of things next to me. Boxes of word cards, paper flowers, fabric flowers, die cuts, letters, things like that. So I thought I would look. These right here might be a little too big. I've got just little, you know, little, I guess you would call them journaling cards. And they may not even fit in the 80s theme. That's actually kind of cute. That might go cute and just tucked in one of the pockets. I don't think I looked through these boxes when I was pulling ephemera. Should have. Got lots of little artist things that came with an artist scrapbooking kit. These are all great, but so far I haven't seen anything that I must put in the 80s journals. Aren't these cute little tags? Is that not so cute? Little peas in the pod. This, I think it's supposed to mean like you're a big deal or the baby is a big deal or whatever. Cuteness, but it reminds me of 80s stuff, so I'm gonna put that in one of the pockets. Because we used to say big deal, you know, like snarkily. Or whatevs, or nada. All those little things we used to say. We all had the friends that were super snarky and everything that came out of their mouth had that attached to it in some way. Joyful, happy times. That might be cute to use later. Always. Refreshed. Memories. Home sweet home. Choose happiness. Wonderful. Again, these are all very sweet, but I'm looking mainly for things that might vibe with the 80s journals. Time flies. Dream big might be kind of cute. I'll put that over here. What's underneath? Time flies. Nah. Giddy. Lots of things about house and home. What a blast. It might work. Cool. That would definitely work. Chill and relax. I don't remember chill being a big word. A good day starts with a smile. That, you know, the song from Annie, You're Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile. I love that song. Stay golden. That would be perfect for golden girls. All right, well, look through those two. Let's look through the die cuts. I know I do have some that will probably work in here that are 80s-ish. Honestly, that would be cute stapled on the top of one of them. I know pink bows are back in style, but bows were big, 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 big in the 80s. Big. Especially in your hair. The bigger the bow, the better. Unless that's just a southern thing. Y'all let me know. Were big, big, big hair bows for little girls a thing where you were? Or is it mainly just the South? Because I know we're kind of made fun of for that. But look at all these bows. I've got tons of them. I'll just pull them all out because you just never know. This was like a little coquette paper embellishment kit that I found at Hobby Lobby. Yeah, there's isn't he cute? I don't know where he came from, but he's adorable. Sometimes I just don't remember where I get things, you know. I do remember a lot, strangely. glasses. I may not find too much in here. Oh, here's a tape. Okay, okay. I didn't know that was in here. And another tape. Cassette, I guess I should say. Hi. Some of these are also from Hobby Lobby. They're very 60s looking, but like this, I would call this more 60s or 70s, but some of them, I'm just gonna keep my eye out. Some of them may work, depending on the font. Oh, I forgot somebody sent these to me. I need to pull these out right now. Oh my goodness, they're so cool. I do not remember who sent those in Happy Meal. Thank you to whoever you are, because that's awesome. They're perfect, and I don't know why I didn't put them with my 80s stuff to begin with. Wasn't this the mantra of the 80s, honestly? Material things, all the things, but that's not really a pretty color for 80s. And then my daughter made it popular with her song. That's cute. I cut this out of a Barbie like notebook that came from Five Below. What is under here? I feel like I missed something. Nope, that's just a printable. Little radio. Fun, but I don't like the font. It's not very 80s looking. These honestly look very 80s, but the frames. Oh, here's some more. Yay. Look at these. These are awesome. I am so glad I pulled this out today. Yes. You know, I love it when a plan comes together. And thanks to all of you generous folks who sent this kind of stuff to me. I don't think I'm going to have any lack of things to decorate with. Which is always a little scary when you start a new journal theme. You always wonder, do I have enough? How much do I have? Do I have enough to go around? Is everybody going to get a fair amount? That's cute, but again, I don't know. This would be adorable if it didn't say yeehaw. Part of me wants to use this, but I don't know. This is definitely a 60s. This might be 80s, honestly. It looks very roller rink. That's 60s, definitely. Let's see. This is from a flea market kit that I got. I don't remember who made it. Flea market. I can't remember who made the flea market kit, but oh my goodness, I love it. There's some macaron. Happy Day. I mean, that's kind of cute. This is 60s. Keep shining, be the light. What is it with the howdy stuff? I feel like this is cool. That's very 80s looking to me. I feel like the cowgirl stuff came out and everybody was trying to push it and nobody really grabbed onto it. At least not where I live. You go, girl. This is more of a 90s phrase. There's the howdy again. This was more of the 90s. The 90s was the grunge culture came in and it didn't really matter what you wore. Did it match? And I feel like that's kind of still the same way now. So what does this say? Smile. That's really cool. That might be good to put in here. This is probably my favorite, but it's a weird phrase. I am a nerd. I love to watch documentaries about decades and about generations and about history of fashion and history of culture and history of fads and trends. That's just one of the things I love to do. My husband also geeks out on it. So, oh, look, more. This is so great. I love things that show me or help me see the big picture. And sometimes when you're living in a decade, you don't really think about it, like what's actually happening, until you look back on it and then you're like, oh my goodness, we did this and it was because of this. It's so fascinating to me. And our parents did this because of this, and our grandparents did this because of this. So fun. All right, so somebody made these for me. I think it's Stacy. Stacy, let me know if that's you. But these are fun and very, honestly, the smileys span across several decades. So I'll add those to a few of the journals. I got 2 of those, which is weird. Maybe I got 2 of each of these. Okay. I think I've got all that I can get out of there, and I got a lot. So yay. All right, so for this, let's just start decorating now. I've got this here. Thought about putting some, not really tapes, because they don't look like they're listening to tapes. They look like they're going to school. Some of these, like the Memphis stuff, are cool, but they don't really go with this color. I guess I could say cool here because the colors blend well, and honestly, they look like the cool kids. You know, you can sit with us kind of thing. And I really don't want to overthink these, and I do not want to over-decorate them. There is already so much going on in these 80s journals. I do not want to over-decorate anything because it honestly might cause migraines. There's so many things happening on these pages, and the colors and the textures and patterns. All right, I'm going to set this aside to sew. And then I'll show, let's see, let's do one more. Let's do little girls this time. We need something red. So maybe some ribbon. I've got my red ribbons down here. Red and blue. Don't know if I have any. I have red and green in here. This. Do I have anything red and blue? I do have this, but that's kind of mimicking the polka dots. This is super fun, this fringe, but I think it might be a little much for a tag. Gingham is always great, but I feel like it's a little much. This is cute. But is it red enough? This is almost a red-orange. Isn't this fun? This is not for the 80s journals, but I love it. Someone gave that to me. And why is this pink in here? This is not supposed to be here. Isn't this cute? I wonder if I could just do a little tab of this at the top. Because it has that Holly Hobby kind of look to it. Yeah, let's do that. I'm just going to cut a piece off. Someone gave this to me in Happy Mail too. And this will just let me, I don't have a lot of room up here, but I do have room to sew a tab. to do a zigzag trim around the outside. That'll be super precious. May or may not put a word. I don't know. I've got one more box of words that I cut out of magazines and newspapers, so I'll check that too and see if anything goes with this one. All right. So what I think I'm going to do, because I'm going to be doing a lot of sewing, I'm just going to pause it one more time, go sew, add the decorations, sew, and then come back and show you the finished product, final reveal of the tags and cards. Okay, they are finally done. Now you guys can see why it takes me so long to make journals. I tend to overthink everything and keep finding more ephemera that I put in places that I forgot about. It just takes a long time to get everything together. And even then, I'll always find something after they're already mailed out that I meant to include. All right, so the first one is this group of 4 friends. I tried to put some trims that were authentically 80s on each one, trims that you might have been able to buy in the fabric stores back then to embellish something. And bonus if it looked like something that was in the photograph. So this one sort of has the theme of the daisies with the red and the blue, and then the ladybugs were cute. So I actually did all of them in white thread except the last 2 because I ran out of white. So I did blue, but that's fine. This one, I used the phrase True Friends, and I just put this colorful spotted satin ribbon on the edge. This is the card, the journaling card made from the Babysitters Club book page. And I actually had some jacquard ribbon with little school books and pencils on it. And that's what she reminds me of as a little kid going to school. So I just put this little bulletin board number on here and sewed that down. This one was a lot of fun. I just love this color combo. It looks like maybe her dress is, or pinafore, whatever it is, corduroy or velvet. And it was black with colored flowers, and I actually had some trim that was the same. And then I put What a Blast. I used some ink around the outside so it would show up on the coral. This one is red, white, and blue. I had this little bow in my box of bows, so I just stitched that down. This is some authentic red fabric ribbon with a crocheted edge. So I think I actually sewed it upside down. That's okay. I flipped it because I thought the angle was oriented better that way. But I put Dream Big on this one. She looks like she's doing some thinking. This one looks like the jacquard that might have been on the bodice of this one. I guess I could have done rickrack to match the other 2, but this just looks very 80s to me, and it matched the pastel cloud background. So this little guy, I did not sew all around this one. This is actually like a Project Life type card. I just put him here and put some of this vintage, I don't know, is this elastic? It looks like elastic, but it has no stretch to it. It's a really thin trim that I found at the craft reuse store. So I just sewed that to one side. This little guy filled up almost the whole tag, and I didn't want to add anything more other than just this little vintage yo-yo, which I'm sure grandmas in the 80s used their stash of yo-yos to embellish things for their grandkids. So this was the perfect card for the pink bow, one of the pink bows that I had. I put her sort of off center and then just sewed the bow down. This is just a lot of color. I decided to, you know what? Striped colors. I just put a little color tab on the top and put Happy Times. This is one of my favorites. I just love this. I cut this number out and put it in my box of words, or words and phrases. I have this canning weighted, you know, the things for fermenting. I just love the box that they came in, so I put word snippets in it and this number 4 was in there from an old Highlights magazine, I think. And then this fun trim, I think I got this in Happy Meal. I only have like 12 inches of it, so I just cut a little segment off. Oh, I need to cut her little edge of her shoe off to make it even. I know that's silly, but this is the same trim as earlier, and this time I wrapped it around and I put Daydreamer because that's what it reminds me of. This is from an 80s magazine, actually. It's a Good Day, and it just went with the brown of their hair, and this is the one that I used that very 80s trim on as a tab. This, you might remember this from the Sesame Street journals. I love this stuff, and the colors just went with everything in this tag. So Sunshine and Smiles, because they look like they're outside. She has some glitter on her. And I had a paper flower that I just stitched down on top of the Scrogaine ribbon. This is another one with the grid. I put the, I showed y'all before, this is some seam binding. I stitched down the word cool, and then I had 2 little paper flowers that I used a tiny attacher to staple on the edge. Last but not least, this gal's leg had to be cut because of the way the other person was down here that I wanted to use. So to cover that up, I made a little cluster with the word cool and some paper scraps and sewed that down and then glued it. And I did not sew around this one because it's the thinner paper and it was the tag flip. So, all right, that is it. Thank you so much for being patient with me today. I hope you had fun. I hope you pulled out some of your craft supplies and worked along with me. This is just another fun way to use sewing pattern, ladies and kids. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.